Man, can we, just for a minute, I'd like to see us lighten up on the topics of discussion. I mean, we've talked about dredging of the Tonia River. We talked about stuff dealing with trade with Sector 4, what could be happening with mineral dependency as a primary means for trade and all this other stuff. Can we talk about some lighter stuff for a few minutes? We aren't even in session yet. And I'd like to be able to cover the lighter topics before we get into the heavier stuff. We have so much going on that warrants being discussed, i.e., there's these brothers here in the capital city that they put on these forums to give our folks a choice or additional options, I'll say it that way. Most of the brothers, you know how we do when we go to the barbershop. We get our hair cut, we get all trimmed up, we make it look, presentable and whatnot, look sharp for the ladies and whatnot. But while we do all that, we do our social club thing. We politic. We get into the deep discussions on things that are relevant to the fam. You know how that stuff works. I like to see us, though, do that in other forms. And here now, there's a brother, Brother Tony, and I can't think of the other brother. They have this book club, or it started out as a book club, but it's morphed into something else where the topics of discussion, they go broad-ranging. And that's key. That's power there. It's wonderful. Because it gives folks some things in there that's thought-provoking. It allows us to do some critical thinking and perhaps implement some of those critical thoughts. Individually, collectively, it all works. It's all a beautiful thing. I want to see us do more of this. Recently, there are folks that was talking about pitting elder against youth, and I discussed that when we spoke about, as we talked about, and I'm talking about it again, the more harmony assembly, which is too heavy for now, but it's real. We need to have our folks to stop being so fractured and do things that will be productive and inspirational under all those within our sphere of influence. And that requires us talking to one another and building with one another. We get more done that way when we do it together, when we interact together, when we are peaceful and peaceable and not hostile. So we put down particular models of thinking and we'll be able to unclog. And as we grow and develop from being unclogged, we can get unstuck. And as we get unstuck, we'll be able to put more things in place to take care of our families on our own terms in harmony with the Creator and the ancestors. And that is important. That is key. It, in my view, is honorable, it's reasonable, it's sound, and it's just. So when we take a look at things for what they really and truly are, and get ourselves in gear in that regard, we can change a whole lot of dynamics for the better. And we don't have to bring anybody else into our conversation. Who cares about what the pigmentocracy generators are doing? They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. Leave them to their own devices. We still have a duty, obligation, responsibility to do our thing, no matter what. So, folks can say what they want to say. I say at the end of the day, while other folks cry and complain, we do work. While other folks run their mouth and talk stupidity, we do work. And while other folks sit on the sidelines and want to throw rocks at folks who are putting in work, so what? Our thing is, we just do work. Work doesn't get done until you get your hands dirty. Work doesn't get done until you got that nose to the grindstone, till you bend them elbows, getting that elbow grease up in there, making it do what it do. Folks are too busy crying and complaining and putting the blame out. Well, who cares about the blame? That doesn't change the issue at hand. Fix the problem. Who got time for the blame? Just keep it moving, putting in the work, because our offspring are watching everything that we do. Everything. And if all our folks do is cry and complain, then our offspring will think that's acceptable. Crying and complaining is not going to fix the problem. You can't rely on somebody else. Do for self is not a slogan. Do for collective self is not merely a suggestion. These are absolute necessities. And our folks have to wake up and get in there. So when I see the brothers having forums like this, oh yeah, we got to be up in there. And even if they say, well, these brothers over here with these funny things on their heads, I don't really want to hear what they have to say. So they may tune us out. But eventually, what you have to say begins to stick. And sooner or later, these folks will move to investigate what in the world you're talking about. And sooner or later, some of them will come around and say, you know what? That brother's kind of sharp. Or they'll say, that brother got a good point. And they will look at things a little differently. If that's what's going to take to spark something up here to move and evolve them, I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. And the more folks that are out there putting in time in these particular forums, the better. The more time that our folks spend doing productive things like that, or having active discussions as we gather around the chessboard, or whatever it is that we do, again, the barbershop, wherever it is that we're at, it's going to give the opportunity for there to be lively discourse that is productive and not hostile and not divisive. I'm good with that. And we need more of it. And anyone who tells me that there's harm and foul in that, I tell them they're drunk.